let's talk foreign policy, shall we? Foreign policy in the 1890s, early 1900s got a little bit more complicated than it had been before. The important thing to realize here is that, as I mentioned in the Industrial Revolution video, the Industrial Revolution is driving the building of factories and the manufacturing of all kinds of things, and that's well and good and fantastic. But if you've got a factory going churning out all kinds of things, you need all of the raw materials to make those things, and you need a market to sell them to. And the United States was expanding so quickly with the Industrial Revolution that they needed more markets to sell stuff to, and they needed more markets to buy in raw materials. So hence, places like China looked really good. Hawaii looked really good because it gave you a place to stop and refuel your ships. Cuba suddenly looks really good. So there are a lot of places that the United States suddenly starts to get involved. Hawaii, there was a coup there. They got rid of the queen, mostly because a lot of Americans had moved there, and they decided they didn't want to be in a kingdom anymore, and they wanted Hawaii to be part of the United States. With the Cuban War, or the Spanish-American War, the main thing to remember is that there were American business interests there that the government wanted to protect, as well as they felt bad for the Cubans. They felt like the Spanish were really treating the Cubans badly, and the newspapers made sure to play that up. And the Spanish looked like they sank the Maine. The Maine was a big battleship that the United States had sitting off of the harbor in Havana, Cuba, and it mysteriously blew up. Naturally, the United States blamed the Spanish. Did the Spanish actually do it? No one really knows. The answer is probably no. But certainly the United States and President McKinley blamed the Spanish, and there you go, you have a war. The Philippines were a Spanish colony as well, and so when we went to war with the Spanish, the war got taken to the Philippines. And the interesting thing is, when we won the war, we said Cuba gets its independence, Cuba should be its own country. But the Philippines, not the same story. The Philippines had a much better strategic location nearer to Asia, and the United States decided to stick around. The Filipinos did not take too kindly to that, and they rebelled. The United States took 3 years to put down the rebellion, but finally did. So, something to think about. There was a lot of debate in the country. Do we stick with this? Do we not? What's happening? Is the Philippines where we should be involved? And did we do the right thing? I'm asking you to look at that for your paper. So please, please, please keep that in mind. Now, Roosevelt was the last president that we'll talk about before the test. And his foreign policy was speak softly and carry a big stick, which essentially meant, you don't have to scream and shout and yell. Just, carry a weapon, and people will listen and will understand. And that was kind of his way of doing things. You don't have to, say a lot, but we've got a big army, we've got a big navy, so guess what? We'll probably listen. So it's another interesting way to think about it.